sneaking. Could we go home, open up your heart and say, oh, no. There will be better days. There'll be better days. God, oh God, please help me. I need someone that can guide me the right way. The right way. I don't need you to judge me. I just need someone to love me the right way. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. Let it rain, every storm full of brighter day. Recognize love when you see it. Only you can open up your heart and say, oh, no. There'll be better days. There'll be better days. God, oh God, please help me. I need someone that can guide me the right way. The right way. I don't need you to judge me. I just need someone to love me the right way. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. We dream, we hope, we pray for better days. It's like this song, and I if I had, I still wouldn't follow. All I can do is provoke. I become spiteful. I'm just as bad as they are. I'm worse. I fucking hate myself for it. I'm so fucking lonely. I'm so alone, never thought you would make me how we broke. I gotta let go, all the pain will eat me if I don't. How can I cope with feeling so low since you have the road? Turn to a person I no longer know. Memories of us will still give me hope. I'm still haunted by all these ghosts. I don't feel haunted, I've been on my own. Nobody's calling me up on my phone, and I need you to talk, but I just get the tone. Yeah, wish we ain't met. Sometimes I feel like I'm better off dead. What hurts the most, you were my best friend. Now you're the one that my heart regrets. I wish I never met you, but I still want to hold you. Getting over you is just something I can't do. I wanna feel brand new, it's just something I can't do. Sorry that I'm not enough. What's the point if you got trust? No one listens, I'm feeling stuck. Can't move on from the thought of us. Hate don't we have a choice. Move across the map and you couldn't join. Going numb in my heart void. Our love has now been destroyed. Feel uncertain, no one is perfect. Hide my smile behind the curtain. Wish your mind, but don't got the courage. Can't leave the thoughts that say I'm worthless, but alone doing shots. I know we fighting, it happens a lot. They leave it acting like someone I'm not. Don't know what happened, you think I forgot. Yeah. I wish I never met you, but I still want to hold you. Getting over you is just something I can't do. I wanna feel brand new, it's just something I can't do. Shallow waters rising fast, empty hollow fields at last, fleeting thoughts that fill my mind, with great hope in love It's good afternoon from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, imprisonment city, the lockdown city of the world. So I've got nothing else but to do is work from home. All right, so let's start with, let's start with the Bitcoin chart, macro chart, and see, just give a quick background to what we're looking at from a macro perspective, and then move along to Bitcoin dominance and total market cap, and then come back and look at where Bitcoin is going in the short term and the long term targets. And by looking at the bigger picture, you understand what's taking place in the current scenario and what is expected. I'm not going to try to explain everything. It is expected that you understand alleyway theory. So Elliott wave theory, in simple terms, is a 5-wave move followed by a correction. And you can apply it to the micro level, macro, or medium term. And what we're going to do is apply it to the macro level at this point and just give you an understanding that there's a few good things that's happened. If you know alleyway theory, it will give you an understanding as to what's taking place. So let's have a look at the current scenario, and let's just use alleyway theory just for the short term. So what's happening is in 2000, what we had here is the previous tops, and each one was pretty much the top of a wave 5, and now we're looking for the top of wave 5 again. The way we do it is the way it's turning out to be. We have these smaller waves. You can do it many ways, like that. What we're interested in is the big wave. So what we have here, in the big picture, there's 2 parts to it. That's wave 1, wave 2, actually, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. Okay, let me just change that, because it's not telling you that's better. So in the big picture, that's what we're looking at. And I don't need to explain the middle part, but it's pretty obvious. Where there's wave 2 to 3 is usually the biggest move. And this is, we're looking at from a big perspective. Let's just look at the weekly, it'll probably make it easier. And let's get rid of those moving averages and so on. Don't want to get that in the way. Let's just get rid of that. So this is the weekly chart. And so that's pretty much it
from a macro, that's why we've justified wave 5. What in between here, we also got another wave 5. So this is the scary part, guys. We need to make sure that's wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and another wave 5. So this is the scary part. When we hit wave 5, we're going to have a bear market. So we've got the macro bear wave 5, and we've got the, I suppose, 2018 and onwards wave 5. So this top is going to be the top. That's pretty much it. We don't know where it is at the moment. And once we hit that top, after all this many years of getting to the top, there's going to be a bit of a correction. The theory is that it won't be an 80% pullback. So if we were to look at previous pullbacks, after hitting a big wave 5, so if we look at here, we had roughly 84% pullback, and we had another one here, which is about 85% pullback, and the last one here is 93% pullback. Some people think, and I read an article where they say the 80% is not going to be the case this time, because a lot of things have changed with the markets. There's institutions, and so it won't be as big as an 80% pullback, but something smaller. And we can discuss that if we have time later on. But hopefully you understand this wave theory. Basically, the wave theory is, and I'll try to explain it in very quick terms, wave 1, wave 2, and then wave 3. Wave 3, so if that's wave 1, that's wave 2. Wave 3, each wave 1 to 2 or 3 to 4 is a correction wave. And then we have wave 5. This is just a standard. And what happens is this is the biggest gains, and this one is tend to be roughly equal to this one here in dimensions. There's not guaranteed, but that's what they say. So, and the thing is, and what I noticed is that the time taken to come down, this time gap, is usually a time gap on top as well. And we'll look at that as well. And there's a few interesting facts. I don't want to make it too much into, let me just turn this thing off. And anyway, so that's basically as simple as I can put it. And if you look up 8-way theory, you'll learn a lot. But it's pretty important from understanding where we are. Okay, so let me look at what I was planning to do. So I just want to give that big picture and why we're on wave 5. And now let's look at Bitcoin in more detail. What we had and what this chart, actually, let's go back to this one. I have a few tools just to tell you why it's a bullish scenario. So if we have a look at this indicator, it's just one of many. If I can find, it doesn't stretch, does it? So I might have to do that. Give me a sec. And you can look at, actually I need to go to the daily on this one. Okay, so what we have is confirmation as well. And that's my target here. So this Maya multiple indicator shows you that at times, let me just change the color there. When we break this level, this moving average for this chart, on many occasions, so that was a start, and when we break it, we have a bear market, which equals that. And then we have another break in price, bear market. When we break it, a bull market, and here we have a combination of sideways. But once we broke it there, it was the bull market. That was a pullback right there, and now we've broken it again, which is a bullish terms, and no surprise, we're matching that top. So it's going to be unlikely to be anything bearish about this. So this Maya multiple gives us indication on what's taking place, and one scenario is that you can play that maybe along those lines. We might find our top there, either matching this level, that level. So there's, you can have a hypothesis. Maybe when it comes to that level, that's going to equal the top, and then we'll see if there's a bearish divergence. So here you can see a bearish divergence in place. Price is going up, indicators going down. So that's basically telling you that there's going to be a drop, and it doesn't take long. But it seems to be the case where once we drop a certain level, it goes down. So this is one indicator that can help you find the top. If I'm just watching FTM keep going. Okay, nice. And so that I just wanted to talk about that perspective in terms of the bull market. And if you look at, let's just add another indicator, which is the general RSI. And let's put it on the weekly. Weekly would be good. On that, or was it a 3-day? The weekly is pretty good as well. And so what we can do with the weekly, it gives us an idea as well, finding the top. So if we were to look for previous top here, you can see the RSI is pretty much up this level. So this level seems to be, above this level seems to be indicating a top on the RSI on the weekly. So it'll be another indication. That's 2017 with a parabolic run. We had another top here, but you can see the bearish divergence took a bit later, so it took around that level. Okay, how you work that, but how you work that to be the top is not easy. This one was, so this one lined up. So these were the tops for the bearish market. This wasn't. That just see how it doesn't align with the other two. So we're thinking that could be the top. It wasn't, and it took roughly, when it dropped below 50%, and it only dipped below 50%, only a little bit. So if we look at a 50% margin level, that's it. And what we had, pretty much RSI helped us find the bottom. You can see support, 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 and we went back over 50%, retouched that midline. So the weekly is telling us we're going up as well. We've got 1 point that support us. It's not gone down. It just went deep below it. But you can see these other ones, they kept going down once it dropped below 50%. Not in this case, but it is, but generally. And here we have a macro support line, and maybe in the future that might come into place. But the 50% really means a change in trend, and it's one way you can use it as well, along with other indicators that will help you out. Good morning, Martin. Yeah. What indicates this? Okay. So that was Maya multiple, and it's pretty there. So that gives you an idea how to find the tops. The indicators are one thing. So what you want to do is you want to line up price action, Fibonacci, and a few other things with indicators to support your thesis that that's the top. It's not going to be easy. I was lucky in 2019 to find the top. That was a good experience for a parabolic run. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned from each. If you study each top in 2017 and 2019, I think this 2022 will be a parabolic run, and it will have a similar effect on the blow-off top, and that's a lesson to be learned. So I just want to touch base on the bigger picture there in terms of the cycle and what's likely to happen once we get there. We will, and with all the other ones, and let's see how we go. If you don't know, we have this A, B, C correction. Let me just change the color there. With all the corrections, you have your ABC corrections. Every time you hit a wave, top of wave 5, you have an A, B, C correction. And sometimes the ABC could be slightly different, but pretty much they repeat. So when we hit the top, we're going to, I'm not saying that's the top, we're going to have A, B, C type of correction as well. And 62K will be probably a good candidate. And that'll be for another session to explain it. Now, what we have with our tool set, we have Fibonacci. And if we were to look at this Fibonacci chart, let me just reverse this. Put in our defaults. I think I'll just apply the defaults here. And put in our lines. Get the background color gone. I want the background. And let's just put on the right. So what can you learn from this? You can see, now you need to understand the basics of Fibonacci as well. And basically what I did is swing high to swing low is my 1 and 0. And you can see the golden ratio is 1.618. And any one of these buggers, any one of these going in the future could be one of these type of events, a pullback. So in my mindset, we're roughly here of this stage. So if you look at 2017 or 16, we had this run, we had this consolidation or pause with the run. We had this scenario here, and then we had another scenario before it went parabolic. And this parabolic component is, I'm hoping, takes place. And if it does take place, then it's going to be, I'll take that box away, that's misleading. I'll just take that away, because that's not right. But you can see why people talk about 250,000, why people talk about 300,000. It's one of these buggers, all right? So if Bitcoin was to go parabolic, and if it was to, and I'll show you why, it could be any one of these. Maybe, I think this is more likely in the 200K if it went parabolic. Otherwise, the standard would be, you just apply your Elliott wave method and the golden ratio. You can bet your money that plus 100K is going to be a bit of a pullback. Could be deep. Don't know how deep, but if this goes up to that level, the golden ratio is going to be a selling point for sure, 100%. Would it be like this is a question. Would it be one of these buggers? A similar pullback? I think it will. But that's where we're going to see if it's going to go parabolic. So one of these, one of these could be, and we can use this method to find the top. That's one method, and now I'm going to switch to something else, which is going to help us to give us an idea on what's taking place at the moment. I just want to make sure you understand the approach and how to handle this. So now let's look at I've got many charts here. Give me a sec. And these are all my charts. And I'll probably need to just hide this one here. That's just additional stuff that I wasn't planning to do on my master chart. Now, we can, I'll get all these tools. And what I want to do is probably look at this chart in the middle here. And so what I'll do is I'll just move this here and I'll make this the main one. Now we've got this logarithmic channel, which is well known, and you can see, so you can see how I'm approaching this with a few perspectives, approaching from a few points, and the middle of this channel acted as a good resistance. No coincidence. It was one of the things I called in my group that was going to be strong resistance, and you can see 100% strong resistance, similar to here, strong resistance, and we had responses here, resistance there. So this is the midpoint of the channel. So when we look at this, you can see, now let's come closer. Now I'm moving away from the big picture and coming to today's scenario, and you can see how I had this line acting as a support line, and actually it did change a bit. Give me a sec. Okay. Right, so you can see on the weekly where we found resistance, this midpoint, and what I want to do is just hide this for a sec. And I don't know if you can see it, but what I'll do is I'll just see if I can make it clearer for you. Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one. What I'll do is make it darker. There you go. That's the next target, in my opinion, for a reaction. And let's see this one. Moving on, that could come in place as well. I won't rely on these too much because it didn't quite hit this one on this level. It was actually the Fibonacci that I showed you before, 1.618. That played more of a role, but in this case, so far, that this level could play a role. So we've got to keep an eye on it. So we can say that line, when price hits that, now let's look on the daily, and this was going to be more evident. You can see on the daily, it actually did play a role, significant role. And you can see from my chart here, right there, this line actually made a big difference. It went up and down, played support there, support there, support there. So this became the neckline for this head and shoulders. When we did the head and shoulders, it was part of the neckline, but actually this one became the prudent one. But it was roughly still, again, part of that scenario. So it's playing it right here now. You can see perfectly that neckline for the previous head and shoulders right there is playing perfect for resistance. No coincidence, in my opinion. This also has confluence from a different perspective, but anyway, I'll come to this channel later. Shouldn't touch that, actually. All right, I'll leave it as that. So this is acting as resistance. If we get closer and closer, you can see that the first touch became resistance. It has confluence with this side as well, and I showed one of my videos why this was a resistance level, but what we have is upward momentum. Now, if we look at our indicator, this one is a stochastic, it's actually turning around and it can go up more again. So this is going to go, in my opinion. I think this is, we're not going to see a pullback at all. I don't see this coming down here at all. No, I just see this building, just building up. And once it hits this all-time high, could pull back to this level here, which is about 57 at most, in my opinion. It could be a sell-off, and we just say a consolidation and then up. That's my thinking. But we can see why it's a resistance spot. And if we look on the closer time frame, now let's look at the 4 hour. I have a bit more detail. 4 hour, and I have this trend line that actually played a role. This blue one here, make it white now. So we can see this trend line acting as support. No coincidence. And I think it's going to continue on. There's a bit of a squeeze here, but it'll play a bit. So I think it's already done it, to tell the truth. And so you can see that momentum keep going. Now this is actually a fractal from a previous chart. I can refer to a previous chart, and let me just dig that up, and I'll try to demonstrate what it's likely to do. And I think this was in October. Where is it? October. All right. And it seems October is a bullish month. So let's have a look. So let me explain this to you. September, October is a volatility. Here was August, October last year. Again, now let me put the psychology into perspective here. We have a major resistance right here, and we found a major support here. That equates to this level here. Major support, major resistance. So what we had, this was, trying to stay with me on this, we had this, was it the 10K? Previous 10K, major resistance, all right? And we found this break, and this acted as the major resistance again, which this was our 50K, all right? Our 50K was our major resistance, similar to back here, where this equated to this level, okay? What happened was we had a head and shoulders here as well, by the way, and we found the, what was it, 9,000, 10K support, and it retested, and we had and once it started, you can see roughly around here, we had a bit of a consolidation, and then when it broke above it went. Similarly, our 10K is our 50K. Our just below the 10, our 12K is our 50K. Our this level here is equating to here, and what we are is right here. And once it breaks, it's going to continue on like that, and we're almost there. Does that make sense? So there is no pullback. You see this section here? That's one fact I'm trying to explain. Once we break out, it shows that it just continues on. There is no pullback. The only consolidation was below this major resistance, and we've had that. We've pretty much, this is the section that we had below resistance. That whole section, and then we had this little bull flag. That's one, and then we break above, and then we'll continue on, if that makes sense. So we're going to have another continuation, no pullback, and up. Now this 1 point, so here is our immediate one, the 1.272, about 74K, has confluence as a major resistance. So without going into too much, I have 3 Fibonacci's from different perspectives, and I'll try to explain to you. where is it? So that's one. Let me name that so I can pick it out later. Okay, that's another one. That's a fib extension, so that's another method. And this is a macro one. So let's just bring that down. Right. So what I've done is I pretty much mark the pivot points with the pricing, and that was just to be really accurate with my Fibonacci's. So we can have the fib extension as one method. Okay. And the fib extension, if you look at it closely, works. So if I go from swing low, swing high to swing low, you can see resistance on the 0.382, bit of reaction to the 0.5, 0.618 had nothing to do but acted as support. And you can see the 0.786, again resistance, and now 1. 1 is acting as resistance. No surprise. So when we look at it, our next targets could be any one of these using this method. So for this one is 69K, and then we've got 74K, roughly, 14414. Now, if we get rid of that for just for the time being, and now we add another fib. Let's see, where is it? This one here. So what I've done here is I use the bottom to this level. So in this case, I use the bottom reference to this level, and I had the fib extensions. Again, the golden ratio and these levels are going to be, oh, so the golden ratio here is 67,000, and what is confluent is this fib level of 2 and the 1.618. So 78,000 is definitely going to be, in my mind, a contender for a strong resistance. And the last component, let's put this macro one in, and you can see that the 1.272 again is close to this range here as well. So it's 74K to 79K. So this range, to me, we have a lot of fibs that is telling us that this is going to be, any one of these methods are going to be resistance. So I would use a 74K. 74K comes along with this one here. So if this was to go up, well, that's 69 for the first one. And then, actually, it doesn't, does it? So 69K is roughly for this one here. Unless it goes sideways more, then it could be 74K. So 69K comes into this one for this short-term resistance. And then we'll probably have the 80K. So that doesn't quite line up. So these fib levels just tell me that the 74 to 79 is an area of concern, and you've got to watch it in terms of finding a pullback. I'm not talking about the top, I'm just talking about a pullback of some percentage where we could accumulate more Bitcoin. Because the major target at this point is, for me, is this level here, which is the golden ratio of 87 at this point, and that could be a major pullback before we see another, if it goes parabolic or not. Do not assume that it's going to go parabolic. We need to check each stage, check our indicators, and check up a few other things to make that assumption. Like I said, I'm expecting a parabolic run. Parabolic runs, generally, if you look at the past, we'll look at it from, let's see, the daily. Now, so if we were to align this stuff with here, just for short term, we'll look at this. Now, so here's the lessons learned. Get my fib, put the bottom, and I'll put the top, and you can see the parabolic run is way higher, but you can see when I use this reference point to the bottom, we have, in this case, we had the golden ratio, it's like that, small pause, okay? And then he actually hit the 2.618, the major, so that's another golden ratio, and that was a big pullback of some 30-something%, and then it went up. Now, this is, I'm hoping this is what takes place in our case. So once we break the all-time high of the previous cycle, we have this, and I'm thinking this is what we roughly are doing right now, similar to this. So once we break a level, this one actually a bit of a pullback from the previous top, but what I'm expecting is a big scenario like that. That's one big percentage pullback. We've already had that one in the equivalent, and we might have this one again. So there's two scenarios before we go parabolic. So if we look at this one and this one, and then a parabolic, so we have two. If we line it up with that, that's pretty messy. We're looking for two pullbacks if we're going parabolic. So this is the first pullback I'm talking about. So this range could be the first pullback, and then we have another one somewhere up here, another pullback, and then we go parabolic. That's what I'm hoping for. Hopefully it hits the 250K range, and anyway, that's the mindset I have. Okay, what do you say about Ethereum? Can't see anything. Can't see anything. Not sure why. All right, so going back to Ethereum, I'm sorry, Bitcoin. Short term, we're almost breaking the key level, which is the 414. You can see. Yep, the 1.272 acted as support. The next fib level. So this method seems to be working, and that is using, let me hide more. So what I did in this case, I'll put here as 0, and I'll put here as 1. And the fib extension of the 1.414 is playing perfect right there. Does that make sense? And the fib extension on the 1.272 is acting as support perfectly, even though we have this trend line that has confluence as well. So if this was to fall back, I would dare say we'll use this trend line to keep going. We've done with the bottom. This area is finished. I don't think we're going to come back down. We pretty much, what is it? This is the daily chart. Look at these 2 weeks. Daily candles, 3 green candles in a row on the daily. That just means bullish, right? That's just not going to come back down. Don't think so. Let's look at the indicators. Look at the MACD. It might come down a bit and then bounce back off. So that's the only thing I can potentially see. It can go sideways a bit. It might just pull back a little bit, and if it comes down back to, I don't know, 60,000, buy it. So here, see how we've got the RSI, and this middle area is the moving average. And once we break that, the RSI is pretty good handy. See how it breaks the moving average? Once it breaks the moving average, before it acts as support, and then breaks down, acts as resistance, and then when we break this moving average, it goes up. And so this moving average, and we are overextended, I can say that, but that doesn't mean it can't keep going. And we need to just keep a close eye on it. But I think this trend line And that fib level of 60k is absolute support, and I don't see going below that. And if you see coming down to that level, my suggestion is go long. I've got no money left to buy, and I'm looking to borrow. I'll borrow more if it comes there, but I've pretty much really extended on my borrowing. And if it keeps going up, I'll probably keep borrowing. But yeah, I'll need to see a big move, and I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner or later, and that could be a bit of a bull flag there in that making. Let's have a look on the smaller time frame. Yeah, so like I said, if you look at those lines, confluence, pivot points. So we've got 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. I wouldn't be surprised. So that's our first touch. Almost, all right, we'll say that's our second touch. I reckon it'll come back down to this level. And if it touches this white line, it's likely to go up. So that's 62k, 62,000. And if you notice this level, kid you not, hold on, where is it there? This was resistance, a fair bit of resistance. This is our 61,800, perfectly as a fib level, the golden ratio. So what I did was hit there, found resistance, went above, below. So the golden ratio, which equates to 61,800 as well, that number, magic number, it struggled. Now it's above it. And we're since 16th of October till 3 days, I suppose, is done, and I don't see this coming down any lower. But if it does, this is so. If we break this level, if it comes down, I would think that will be support. If it comes below it, I would say it's going to come down back to here for support. So it might come down like that and up. So this is a range. You can see currently it is a range, and if this is our A, I'm making a lot of scribbles. Let me just clear it up a bit. That's our range for the time being. We have 2 touches, pretty much very strong support. This was a buying zone. You can see it just wicked up, another wick. So this is our range of support for the time being. If this trend line doesn't do anything, it doesn't matter. Then it's likely to retest this bottom area. But I think what we're going to do is just see higher lows, and up it goes. Won't stay here too long. While this happens, I think the alts range are going now. So it's alts like having a bit of a catch up. Alts are going to get hammered, or Bitcoin dominance is going to get hammered once it breaks this. Then it will hit the 68k based on this, and then we'll reassess. And 68k is pretty much a new range, a new all-time high, and I would say that it won't stay there long. And here we go to this 72k range. So that might be one that a bit of a profit taking, and might come down for short term. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. So that's what I have for Bitcoin. I've probably exhausted that. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. Okay, that one there. And I got this 20 weekly moving average, and I spoke about it before. And what I noted with the 20 weekly moving average, when Bitcoin dominance went above it, it really went up. And here was a bit of a consolidation, and then made another top. So this is a top, made a double top, hit its target, and then alt season kicked in. Now what I'm noticing is when it really dropped, so here it was hanging around with the 20 weekly moving average. Here this was an alt season, and you can see how it really didn't really hold the 20 weekly moving average, and when it really broke the 20 weekly moving average, it went down hard. Now we're seeing the 20 weekly moving average being compromised again. RSI is above 50% on the weekly, which means it's an uptrend. For this to be negotiated for alt season, it has to go below 50%, the RSI, for alt season to kick in. So we don't have it. So that's a tool that you use. All right, so 50% on the weekly is one that you should pay attention to for alt season to come into place, because the RSI 50% is a trend on the macro trend, and any time, and we have a proof here. Let's put it here. As soon as it found resistance there, the alt season kicked in, and you can see it came below 50% and then rejected. It became alt season, and that was a bear market for Bitcoin against the alts. Now we have this, and I had this line. You can say it's might be working, but as soon as it broke that, and I used that line as a formation here. So that was the previous top. I don't want that. Also, this is a macro formation right here. Let's clear that up a bit. Not too many. Let's just hide a lot of that. So what I do see is this was a double bond, and what we have realistically, if you see that resistance trend line roughly there, and it's just ever so broken about it. So this was a macro trend line, and it found support all the way through, and then it found there's resistance. Now it broke above it, and it broke above the 20 weekly moving average, and it went above the 50 moving RSI. So as long as the weekly is like this, it's Bitcoin. It's not the alt season yet, and for the alt seasons to come into play, we need to see this come below this level, and the weekly is not done. What we have here is a formation, and what I did was I thought, okay, I'll just apply the principles that we know. Potentially, that's going to be the target, roughly somewhere around there, and that has confluence here. So previous support, so the 0.5 Fibonacci on the macro is probably the target. So Bitcoin is more likely to be dominant, in my opinion, as long as the weekly candlesticks stay this way. We do have a bit of resistance here. As you can see, this is all resistance on the weekly. That's a weekly resistance there. So this has to break that weekly resistance first for this scenario to play out. So that is an immediate resistance. So this could easily dip back down, right? So it's, for the time being, Bitcoin and alt season is unclear. And if Bitcoin breaks the 64K, I think it will go up, and the alts will pause in their spot. So if that makes sense, if you can line that. And then if it was to go above that, which I think it might be the case, when Bitcoin really makes its stride, I think this is likely to happen. So if it breaks this, I think it's going to go up into this box and then down, and that's when the alt seasons starts. So this could go, and then once we drop below this, I think that's when the alts really go. And who knows what this level will be for Bitcoin? Probably close to its all-time high. If you look at 2017, when Bitcoin hit its all-time high, that's when the alts really made a big difference. And I suppose that makes sense, similar to what we had in this year. So that is my approach and my thinking at this point for the Bitcoin dominance. And now let's look at the total market cap. I think it's broken it. I haven't looked at it for a while. And yeah, look, there you go. Woohoo! It's broken it. So that's all-time high. It's above it. I thought it'll do one of these two moves. Was I wrong? No. I think I was pretty close to that, really. So it didn't do that, and it didn't do that. It actually did both in between. There you go. So we have a resistance right there, perfectly. All-time. So that is that is bullish. So we've we've broken this major resistance level here, and it's used as a retest. And you can see that wick. It won't be here too long before we go up. Okay, so maybe we can use this chart to find the next pullback for Bitcoin. These fib levels, and you can see where I had my market all-time high. Oh, sorry, my target short term, which is the golden ratio, which is 3.1 trillion for the market, and that's based on this macro. So if we use the other method, fib extension, similar to Bitcoin, it equates to one, roughly one to, yeah. So this level, this box is pretty much a good target zone. I'll just reduce that. It's one of these. So we've got to keep an eye on that for potentially the top. So 3 trillion, and anyway, we'll see how that goes. That's just an idea, a theory, and that's it for that one. All right. Now I'll can't see the name of the account. I'm not sure what name of account. Actually, let's see if I can do something here, guys. Only the sides. I can't really increase. I can't increase these numbers within the chart. It's just not able to. But if you look at my Fibonacci levels and you apply it to your chart, you'll be able to see it. All right. I can't see the name of count coin. I can't see the name of the coin. Well, this is the total market cap. And the previous one was just Bitcoin. So I haven't looked at any other coins at the moment. Bitcoin dominance, total market cap, and Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin is looking right now is just right there with this this trend. Perfect. Now what I have here is another way of measuring what's going on. So if I was to actually go here, this one will do fine. I'll get rid of this. I'll get rid of the log for the time being. And you can see we actually started a channel as well. And what it looks like, it broke, like if this was a channel, it broke above it. And so it's likely to use this as support, this level as support. And that line is what I had before. If I was to use this line as a top, potentially top support line. So if any time price comes down, it might use this line as support. So at the moment, it's proven to be the case once it broke above this channel. Does that make sense? Right. Now let's have a look at. I'm going to bring out some other data, and just bear with me. So actually, let's do more tools. There we go. I have a few tools in my hand, and I can see here, for instance, this tool. If I was to let's move it across, back, whoops, move back, and then move, I think I can move back again. Okay. And if I use this tool, you can see where it says go long, go short, and let's see if I can just get the logs out and auto. Okay. So this tool is actually calling, in most of the cases, where to go long. So it's a COT indicator, and if you know how to use it, you will find that it helps a fair bit. So I'm going to use this indicator as well to find the tops. There is another tool. Actually, I should have done that. And we have the pie. I can't. So this one here on the left, if I was to, the pie chart also tells us, so it's the daily, okay. Can't see on this, it's too long. So the pie cycle indicator can also help find the top, and I've got this golden ratio tool that helps us find the top and bottom as well, but it's not the most accurate. It relies on the golden Fibonacci. And what's this one here? Okay, so we've got this last one. Let's just look at that. No, there we go. Forward. Okay. Let's just. So this one is using, well, you can see, let's see if this is on the weekly, maybe do the daily. What we're using here is Fibonacci Bollinger Band. So each one is a golden ratio Fibonacci Bollinger Band. And you can see that on many occasions in the uptrend, this red level is overextension. And the orange as well holds it back in many of the cases. So we've got a long way to go up. As this moves up, then we know when we're overextended. In many cases, like you look at the past, the orange band is holding everything back on the daily, just pretty much as we're going up, the orange band. And so this is likely to go to the orange band, which is currently 69,000. So we've got this, we're above this medium yellow in the middle, we're above it, and therefore we are likely to stay above it and continue on to the upper quadrant. So that's just another perspective. Right, let's look at other coins now. Let me just see if I'm missing out on anything. No, I'm not missing out. I have, for those don't know this tool here, it looks up Binance, and I'll just post it here for you guys. It's a free tool. What you do is you let it run, and you populate your page, and it just pretty much shows you, and it explains how to use it. It shows you what's moving, and this is ADA, so ADA is currently dropping based on that. And let's have a quick look what ADA is doing. I've got BNB. I'm trading BNB, and BNB is finding it. Broke out that model, and I'm looking at BNB to finding resistance as well. Okay, so I did trade that breakout, and I don't think it will come down, but you never know. That's BNB. Let's look at ADA based on this tool. ADA was slightly making some gains, probably based on these negative stuff. ADA, yeah, pull back a bit. So I'm seeing ADA finding this level of support, this yellow line. If it drops below this, it's definitely going to come back, revisit this bottom level of $1.90 or $1.90 something. If it doesn't hold this level up, so that is not looking the best. Let's look at Ethereum. So on the big, I've posted this, I believe, and if I look at Ethereum on the big picture, you can see after a big uptrend, Ethereum has done this cup and handle, in my opinion, which is a continuation pattern, and it's almost about to break out. So you can look at Ethereum from this perspective. Bitcoin's pretty much the same. When we got this crossover on the moving average, it was a bull market. So I got the 21 and the 50 on the daily moving average. And if I was to just clear everything up, we have, again, similar to here, we have the 21 and 50 moving average on the daily crossing over. So that is a bullish sign. And the fact that it crossed below and then went back over, Ethereum is close to doing another run. Now, you should have been accumulating in a few areas. Let's just, is Ethereum going to outdo Bitcoin? I think so, but not yet. Like I spoke about the dominance chart. I think I can get rid of this for the time being. So that was my cup and handle, and I don't know where that is. Okay, so I can get rid of that. No, okay, that's not on the formation. What we have here is pretty clear in terms of daily resistance, and we have another daily resistance. So 3,960 is acting as resistance. And if you look at, so this is it's not the best cup, but this does play into the handle scenario. There's just a formation. You could call this inverted head and shoulders as well. On this area here, so that's inverted head and shoulders, and it's just doing the retest and then up. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder smaller than the left shoulder, fits in, and based on that structure, if that's the assumption that it is an inverted head and shoulder, the immediate target will be, based on that, is 4,600. So that's the immediate short-term target. And the bigger target will be this structure. And so once it breaks that, you apply it, and we have about 6,700. Now, does it have confluence with anything else? Well, we'll give it a go. We apply a Fibonacci as usual, so it's going to look for all-time high, and I want the default. I'll reverse it. First on the right, and you can see, does it have confluence with? The way I've applied it, does it work? Well, it seems to. Each fib level is playing a role along with the moving average. So Now this section doesn't. So that's probably based on the fib extension. So let's apply the fib extension as well to this chart. And it doesn't. So for what reason this area is resistance, I would dare say that it's based on just the, okay. So the only reason, it's good reason as well, that was resistance there, right there with this big candle, found resistance midsection, so that's fine. That's explained. All right, so using the fib extension method, which is this, let's make a Y. Yep. And that's our target. It's close enough, in my opinion, to 1. So this area is a short-term target after it's broken. So once it's broken this golden ratio, so the inverted head and shoulders actually gets to the golden ratio right there. So that, I think that's going to be a immediate resistance, 4,600. And then we're going into this territory of these fib extensions. We might see some pullbacks, but the ultimate goal, in my opinion, is this box here, which is 6,400 to 6,700. And then I think we'll see a bit of a correction there, a bigger, deeper correction. Not sure maybe how much, but maybe something like that. Could be a deep correction. And then this is the golden ratio there, all right? We've got the 1.272, 1.414, and the other way is 2.618. I see Ethereum going to this range, which is 8,000 to 9,000 range. That is what I'm thinking as a major target. And if Bitcoin goes parabolic, so would Ethereum. So that's what I have at the moment. And if Bitcoin goes parabolic, Ethereum's going to go parabolic. And you know what? 20,000 is not unrealistic. And if you think about it, if you look at this method and apply it how it worked to Bitcoin, it's, well, Bitcoin hit 20,000, 19,000 something, well, Ethereum just following suit. So it's likely to have some resemblance to Bitcoin's price action. So need to study that a bit more closer. I haven't done that, but I think that could be possible as well. All right, now let me have a look. Any comments? No comments. And let me look at YouTube, see if there's anyone asking questions there. Otherwise, I'm going to be wrapping it up. Okay, so someone's asked about Luna. All right. So let's have a look at Luna. Terra Luna, isn't it? Okay, so someone's asked about Luna. And you can see I studied Luna a bit. And so it's broken a big formation. It's a bit messy there, but we can see if I was to apply, give me a sec, just clean this up because otherwise you're not going to understand it. What we've seen is Luna is in a range, and if I don't know if you know Wyckoff's method, and I think Ada did this similar too. What we had was an ascending wedge that broke down. Right, you can see that there for the short term, and it's not really acting as an ascending wedge target. because the target will be a bit lower. So what we're seeing right now, let me see. You can see the 618 is acting as resistance. Perfect. So this area right there is acting as a resistance. Pretty clear. And just make it darker. You can see that. And what we have, this level as support. Pretty clear as well. Right there. So I do see this as an accumulation. What we're having here right now is we had the bottom, we had one higher low, ever so more. So I don't see this. Well, it's possible to go down to this level, but that becomes bearish. So the fact that it's holding this level and there is no formation, there is not really. That doesn't give you anything to go with. Maybe there's maybe a triangle or wedge, something like that. So how do you trade this? You can't trade this besides accumulate. So the way it's seeming is that that area is accumulation, and this area is accumulation as well. So what's happened is we just got higher lows of accumulation. So if price was to come down here, I would say buy it and just keep buying it. If it dips down further, buy that level. That's all I can say in terms of a strategy. If that's and the wait for the alts to kick in. For the time being, it's just accumulation. If I look at the indicators, so I'm on the 12-hour, and if you know anything about this indicator, everything's below 50%. You need to see this orange or this shaded area above 50% for bullish momentum. You need to see the green above 50% for bullish momentum. At the moment, it's not. It's going sideways on the bottom level on the 12-hour, and the candlesticks pretty much represent it. So nothing bullish about it. As I said, if you want to just accumulate, you can do that, but there's no reason why this can't drop further down. It's not that strong. As I said, alt season is not really in place yet. Bitcoin is, so you're better off putting your money in Bitcoin at this point, unless there's a dip. If there's a big dip, maybe if it comes down to here, definitely buy there because it'll bounce very quickly. And we've got one touch, two touch. The third touch will be the last one, I think, and it'll go up. So I don't see this. It can go down further. If I look on the daily, okay. Yeah, so daily is actually, it's crossed over. So this is going sideways and it's likely to go up. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that this is a good area to buy, and it'll go sideways until the moment the bullish divergence plays out. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. This is definitely a zone of support. Otherwise, this is on the next. If it drops there, then you probably, yeah, I would just wait for the dips and buy them. So I got for Luna. And any other questions? No, not many people online. I'll leave it at that. Let me see what's happening to BNB for a sec. Okay, and you can see many of the alts, they just come back. This one's all right. This one's looks like it's finished with this level, and now it's going to range in this level, usually, and then yeah, maybe inverted head and shoulders as well. BNB, I think BNB is going to be good. Actually, for those who want to hang back and look at other coins, let's look at my coins that I'm interested in that aren't regular coins. So this is my website. I just have some good links, reference points. If you want to use it, it's up to you. I've got S Fund, so let's look at S Fund at the moment. And let's see how we go on the bigger chart. These are low cap coins, and if you look for the low cap coins, you can make a lot of money. So this bugger, so far, has made 540%. So, and the bull market and the alt season hasn't kicked in yet. And this is a nice formation, and it's broken up. It's obviously found the resistance where it originally started, and we've got higher lows. So might have a bit more here, and then up. So S Fund, it's called Certify Fund. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now let's look at Unilayer. Just want to say that. Unilayer. I'm also into this one. And you can see previous all-time high, it's way up there, $4. Currently it's $1.27, and I think it's going to go up. As I think the current one is $2.26 as the target. Golden ratio, previous area of support, resistance. So I do think this is likely to go up to this point here, and that's a good gain of from where there 100%. So that's pretty good. Friend did really well. I'm using Desktop Guru. It does. It's a free site, and the gas fee is basically based on Ethereum blockchain or Binance blockchain. So there you go. This has already gone up a fair bit, and currently it's up 400%. And set a target, and I think this will continue to go up. Yeah, low cap, very low cap. Not much traded today, so it's not really dropping. Let's see what we look at. DX Finance. Let's see what's that doing. DFX Finance. It's dropped down a fair bit in the past day or so. So you can see the volume here, which is this is telling me it's going to go. There's like if you look at this, all this volume here, for a lot of interest. So this has dropped a lot, and I'm up a fair bit actually. Let's see what I've got. So DFX. No, not this one. Anyway, that this has a good potential. If it breaks this level, definitely it's going to go up. So break it once. So it's broken that resistance level, previous bottom, come back down. The fact that it broke it once, it's likely to go up again, and so on. So it's found resistance there. I think this will go. There's more greens than one dump, so more greens, yeah. And that's a 12-hour chart. I actually want to look at one more coin before I go ahead and leave, and that's FTM. Been playing with FTM for a while. It gave me good gains, and looking good again. Uh-huh. So it's done well against, this is on the right is against Bitcoin, and it's holding its ground. It's not the best understanding chart, but what I can see, the MACD is actually gone above. Yeah, so if we look at the MACD, it's gone above zero and it's got upward momentum. So FTM against Bitcoin is looking good. And that can, so you can see this, that momentum, it's already, we're starting to get a trend. And on the left, realistically, so this, you can say that was a channel. So we had our, this is likely to continue on. So the MACD is turning up, and this is the 8-hour chart. From a short-term perspective, so we are, actually, let's do it this way. We had A, B, C correction. Now we're doing a big moves. 1, 2, and 3. We can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the fact that it, yeah, so it's just holding, it's just going. What kind of range can we find? I don't know. Where is it? Let's apply some basic stuff onto it, and let's see what's. I remember having a chart somewhere else for the target. Let me look at FTM. No, on the chart. It's just taking its time. So if we use there to there, being conservative. Oh, here we go. FTM. This is my forecast. Oh, what's on my settings? Oh no, I haven't. So that didn't work out. That was my line of resistance there. Okay. Do I have my targets? No. So for some reason, $2.90 will come to mind at the moment as the next major target. Got the fibs there. Okay. No, that's a short term. Okay. So that's one. No, that's not going to help. So if we'll use this and reverse this, make it white. Yeah, so $2.70 is a short-term target based on this structure. However, if we do Fibonacci extension from there, swing high, swing low. Yeah, we can have $3.30. $3.30 as the next major target. There, $3.30, and like I said, around $3 is the first. $3, yeah, come on, yeah. So $2.70. $2.70 is the first target for this structure, and then potentially each fib pretty much looks at Bitcoin. So I do see $3.38 as a major target, and if it breaks that, then I'll look at $4.80 for FTM. So one step at a time, guys. And that's it. I'm done. I think you guys benefit from it. And there's a lot, but FTM looks pretty good as well. And I'm into that as well. Just looking at the right time when to flip most of, but FTM is ahead of the schedule with the rest. So FTM looks like a good one. Bit of momentum. BNB, I think, is going to do well, especially with latest release. And looking at the structure, it's not as advanced as Ethereum. I think Ethereum is going to do well as well. And then obviously there's all these other coins. And if we look at the charts, there's so many to look for. But you want to have your portfolio with the main ones. Matic. Actually, let me have a quick look at Matic. I've got Matic as well. So Matic was going ahead of everyone else. So it might be. Let's go to. This wasn't the Matic chart I was thinking of, but yeah. So Matic is also pretty advanced, and you can see this sideways structure. Okay, now it's coming up. So yeah, you can see the immediate resistance level. It's not as advanced as FTM and all the rest, so you'll be careful. But you can see this bit run that it's done before, but it has a lot of sideways. This might go sideways a lot, and I wouldn't invest heavily in Mathematic. And you just look at the other charts. All right, guys, I'm hungry. I'm going to wrap it up here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please give me a like and a share. And if you're charitable donations, come and join my channel. It's under my signature. And talk to you soon. Cheers. Have a good day.